Hi there, ladies and gentlemen, just following up from our last video. For those who aren't gifted with the power of reading, notice that the video is posted on the 17th of November, well before the date of the first Dragonborn release. Also, it says in the actual title, screenshots, review and insight, not full review, so please don't look for a full review so early.
And now onto the proper review.
You're welcome.
So we're on a boat now, and we're floating into Raven Rock.
Yeah, we found out it was Raven Rock in the end.
Is that place that we didn't know where it was.
Yeah, thanks for commenting.
We learned a lot there.
So, starting off with locations, you start off in Raven Rock, as it turns out, which, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't find it that interesting.
Well, yeah, it's just like a bunch of shell buildings.
Well, that was it. It was really empty and quite, well, just dead, really.
Yeah.
Pretty much the first thing I did when I arrived there was pretty much I just robbed everything I could find. Mostly ash yams, actually.
I don't even know what that is.
It's like a giant dusty strawberry.
Lush.
Yeah.
No wonder Dark Elves are sad.
Well, yeah, it was pretty boring. Until I stumbled across the first quest, which is you're kind of led up by the blacksmith, because he's had his ancient Nordic pickaxe stolen, and you have to go and get that back, which leads you into a larger quest inside the mine. And that was probably the most entertaining thing about Raven Rock, and after that it just pretty much
died.
Just lost any kind of interest for me. I mean, you meet Neloth, who's a Telvanni.
Oh, he's the funny mage.
Yes, he's hilarious. Actually, that was a big part of the game for me, but we'll come back to that. When I say I didn't really like it, it was fun, but the city didn't really feel alive.
Well, it's a game.
Yeah, but I mean, in comparison to like the Skull Village.
Yeah.
The Skull Village itself has, because it's smaller, I'm imagining, and obviously plays a bigger part in the main quest line. There's a lot more unique dialogue. The characters feel more real, and it just flows better. It has a real vibe to it, as opposed to Raven Rock, which feels a bit sort of like copy and paste Dunmer with dead eyes and shit expressions.
Nah.
Not a lot of interesting dialogue.
Like a load of scarecrows.
I mean, actually, with the exception of one bartender, quite comical, who goes on to talk about how he named his pub.
He's probably drunk, so...
Yeah, it was pretty funny, but yeah, it leads on to a small quest where you just have to pretty much hand out booze.
Lush. That's my kind of party.
Yeah, and you slowly begin to reform Raven Rock, and then everyone... So, I think because it's a smaller place as well, they thank you a little bit too much. Like when you get invited to someone else's Christmas party and then everyone's really overly friendly.
With a happy ending.
Yeah. Okay, so main questline. Why are we actually in Solstheim? We get approached by 3 cultists in Skyrim saying that they're servants of Mirak. And you follow this up by going back along the same route they came to Solstheim, and you find this temple which has people working around it at night. And it turns out that whenever the sun goes down, the people of Solstheim become sort of servants to Mirak, and they build all the architecture.
But why only at night? It's not
I don't know. I'm assuming that's the only time you can sort of exert control. And plus, it would be a little bit unfair if they were constantly comatose, because then you wouldn't be able to trade or talk to anyone on the island, and it would be a bit pointless.
That's true.
So,
what's the stone thing in the middle?
Okay, so the stones are from Blood Moon, part of the Skull Faith, and they're sort of like outlets for the All-Maker's elements, like sun, earth, stars. And when you can touch them later, and you'll get extremely powerful spells or buffs depending on which one you touch. But if you touch it too early, like I have now, you end up being a sort of thrall, and you can break free, but only after a few seconds.
Oh. So it's a bit pointless, really.
Well, yeah, it's just to stop you from getting the buffs too early, I think.
Who's that?
That's Freya. She's the shaman's daughter for the village of the Skull.
Why is she here, though?
She's trying to... All her people are here working, and she's trying to break them out of it. So you go through a dungeon with her. She's the equivalent to Serana.
And then I'm guessing these books are the ones that take you into Apocrypha.
Yes, I believe there's 7 in all, and you can get certain powers and everything, but this one takes you into the main realm.
Where you meet Mirak for the first time.
I was a bit pissed off at this, because 1, you get your ass handed to you, and 2, they revealed Mirak a little bit too early, in my opinion.
Yeah, but he does show off the great dragon aspect shout, which looks very pretty.
Now this is really good. It's a buff that allows you to be more powerful, shouts become more powerful and everything. And even in one particular instance, you summon a spectral version of yourself to fight for you.
That's pretty cool.
I'll show you that later. I actually managed to capture that on film.
Yay, exciting. And now we get to look at Hermaeus Mora for the first time.
Yeah, this was actually really good fun. It drags on this conversation quite a bit because he talks quite slowly, but it's just great to finally see him. Do you know what I mean? Like this is, it's not his whole body, but still.
And then he goes and stabs the Skull Chief person.
This is much further down the main quest line.
Lord Vader.
Yes, Master.
Rise.
You are such a dick.
I'm pretty sure that he does the same to this guy, doesn't he?
Yep. Oh, this is something that really pissed me off, actually, about DLC. I wanted to finish Mirak and I didn't get the chance.
Yeah, he's just gone into
the
hentai.
The main quest is actually really short.
Yeah.
Really short. I think it's like 3 or 4 missions in total.
Tiny.
My playstyle, what I do is I collect all the locations, then I do all the minor quests, and then I do the main quest last.
Yeah.
And this meant that I was really building myself up and looking forward to killing Mirak, and it didn't really happen. And
which is unfortunate.
I was so annoyed. But you did get some pretty sweet gear out of it, I'm not gonna lie. You get his stuff, you get his armor, you get his sword, his staff. On top of that, you then get a complete skill remap, which you can go back and visit any time, at the cost of a Dragon Soul per skill tree.
So what about side quests, Adam?
Okay then, well, there's quite a few throughout the entire island itself. This is in Raven Rock, well, underneath Raven Rock in the mine. You find the Skull Blackblade, which is in fact a key.
That's quite cool.
Yeah, it pretty much shoots like a ribbon when you do a power attack.
It looks like it's got like a laser coming out of it. It's quite cool.
Yeah, to be honest, it's one of my favourite weapons. Even though I'm not spec'd into two-handed,
Does that like ribbon of light do damage?
Yep.
At range?
Yeah.
That's
like,
cool.
Well, limited range, but still does damage.
So obviously there are new weapons. Is there any kind of like cool armor that we get to see?
We see Chitin, Nordic, Bone Mold, and Stalrim.
What's Stalrim?
Stalrim's ice, which you can mold, and you see the Thalma actually come looking for this, and they find a large deposit of it.
Right.
And you can mine it with an ancient Nord pickaxe. But it's worth noting that only the Nordic and Stalrim actually come with weapon sets, the rest are just armor.
Oh. We see a return of the barrows that are in Skyrim, but you have to pay a Dark Elf to excavate it. I think it's a bit of a rip-off.
Yeah, I think it comes to something like 10,000 gold once you've done all sort of 3 levels, because he keeps losing miners and then he ends up hiring muscle. And it turns out that it's not the Draugr killing them, it's him killing them in order to resurrect a Dragon Priest. This isn't said Dragon Priest, this is in fact Mirak's jailer.
What's that skull you just put down?
That's Karstag's skull. You go back to his castle and you can summon him. You have this pretty epic battle with him, he's quite hard to kill.
Where he apparently bitch slaps you.
Yeah, I got sent flying. And then you can use him as a summon spell, but you can only summon him 3 times.
What, in the whole game?
In the whole game.
That is mental. Oh my god, he is so tall.
And ugly. Amongst other side quests, we end up with more pointless ones. Like, they've added in Thirsk for, like, obviously nostalgia's sake. And you go with the boss, she gets bollocked, and that, as far as I know, is it. I can't seem to become the leader of a Thirsk Hall, so if anyone knows, let me know.
Comments down below, as we know you love it so much.
I wonder if this can get more dislikes than the last video. So what did you like about the DLC then?
I like the Stalrim armor, I like the tentacly sword thing, and I like the staff that sprays the tentacles, and I also like the chitin armor, because I think it's badass. What do you like about the expansion, Adam?
I really liked the Staff Enchanter in Nelos Tower. It was pretty awesome, if a bit limited. Also, I liked the Whirlwind Cloak. There's actually quite a few new spells, which are quite fun. I liked how alive the Skull Village felt. The interaction felt genuine. And the only other person that really had that sort of feel about him, that he wasn't really rushed, was Neloth himself. And you actually get to go on a quest with him, and I was just laughing all the way through. It was fantastic. I also liked the Cyclone Shout. That was pretty mega. It's a bit like the Unrelenting Force, but it's a bit more fun.
And now on to the things that we thought hurt the experience. Well,
Dragon
the
riding.
thing.
Or riding.
Sitting.
Sitting,
Or
riding.
Dragon. Dragon riding. In fact, didn't you send them a letter?
I did, just some general feedback, nothing completely negative, but I didn't want to be one of those people that just constantly raged and didn't really give a reason, so I broke it down into 3 points. The first being, mainly it's not really riding, it's more that the dragon sort of carries along on its usual trajectory, and you're just sort of along for the ride, and you can only attack things which are relatively proximate. And using the word like mount, which was thrown a lot around when everyone was talking about it on the internet, kind of suggests a degree of control, like a horse. Instead, we got a fairground ride. The second being that the physics of the game seem completely broken, and as the dragon sort of flails around in confusion, not really knowing what it's doing, bouncing off the ground in some instances, I often just lost my target, as you can see in some of the footage, and it was just really quite frustrating, because not only am I limited to where I can go, I'm just limited just to how effectively I can do a small amount of damage in a really small area. And then the third was, and it's really a minor detail, I don't really expect this to be that much of an issue, but I wasn't allowed to keep the particular dragon that I had mounted. You have to sort of kidnap a dragon, take its free will, and then you just part your separate ways after a while, but that for me just felt really impersonal, and I quite wanted to keep the Serpentine dragon that Mirag rides. So it'd be quite nice to see the Call Dragon shout have a feature where you can actually call a specific dragon, or just mount a dragon as a fully fledged mount, as opposed to just calling a stranger down and just being able to do bugger all like on those rides outside of a supermarket.
Do you think you might have hurt their feelings a bit?
No, I don't think so. I wrote it in a very polite manner just as a sort of feedback, but they were quite nice and actually responded to me.
My God.
So to end on a positive note, we have one more thing to talk about.
The time has come
For us to introduce the Ebony Knight, the last boss in Skyrim, who comes with the Dragonborn DLC, and he kicks arse. Because we didn't want to ruin the fight for everyone, we cut the footage short.
He only appears at level 81 and is extremely difficult to kill. It took me 3 attempts before I just rage quitted and then came back to it for a 4th. Alright, that's it for our full review of the Dragonborn DLC. Thank you for watching.
We're going to score it a 3 out of 5 because dragon riding was such a major thing and it was really disappointing.
Just failed to deliver really, didn't it?
Yeah.
But all in all, a great DLC. Don't forget to like, subscribe and abuse the comments bar. Thanks for watching.